Africa also gave. Our ancestors fought hard on the European front, mainly in France, Belgium, and Italy, to free the world from Nazism. So it's a shared history that we have.
A biography of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, Episode 2, Rise to Power. In our previous episode, we journeyed through the humble beginnings of a man who would one day shake the foundations of West Africa. We explored the quiet village of Kera, where Captain Ibrahim Traoré was born, and followed his early footsteps through the halls of education, shaped by discipline, purpose, and the unyielding traditions of the Mossi people. But today, the story shifts. This is no longer about a boy with dreams. This is about a soldier, a commander, a man on the brink of destiny. In this second episode, we trace the path that led Captain Traoré from the training grounds of Burkina Faso and Morocco to the heart of a revolution, a journey marked by fire, betrayal, courage, and power. This is the rise of Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the man who dared to challenge the old world order and claim leadership in the name of the people. Welcome to Episode 2, The Rise to Power. A soldier's discontent, the seeds of revolution. By 2020, Ibrahim Traoré had become a captain in the Burkinabé army, earning respect through over a decade of service. His time in the military included a 2014 UN peacekeeping mission in Mali, where he survived a complex attack in Timbuktu, gaining recognition for his bravery. Back in Burkina Faso, he engaged in harsh counterinsurgency battles in the north, where soldiers faced severe hardships, lack of equipment, delayed pay, and poor leadership. These struggles deepened his dissatisfaction with the civilian government under President Roch Kabore, which many saw as corrupt and ineffective. Educated in geology and shaped by Marxist and Pan-Africanist ideals during his student years, Traoré became a voice for disillusioned soldiers. He openly criticized the government's failure to contain the Islamist insurgency that had gripped Burkina Faso since 2015, displacing millions and reducing state control to just 60% of the country by 2022. His boldness inspired many younger soldiers and civilians alike, who admired his courage to speak out. These rising tensions and his growing influence set the stage for his pivotal role in 2022, a turning point that would elevate him from a little-known officer to the youngest head of state in the world. The January 2022 coup, a prelude to power. In January 2022, Captain Ibrahim Traoré took his first major step toward power by supporting a coup that ousted President Kabore. The coup, led by Lieutenant Colonel Damiba, aimed to address growing insecurity and a deepening humanitarian crisis. Traoré, then heading an artillery regiment in Kaya, aligned with the newly formed military junta, the Patriotic Movement for Safeguard and Restoration, MPSR. Though he stayed in the background, he grew increasingly critical of Damiba's leadership as violence worsened and promises went unfulfilled. Traoré, stationed in the north, witnessed the military's continued struggles. By September 2022, after an attack killed 11 soldiers, dissatisfaction reached a boiling point. With his Pan-African ideals and Sankara-inspired vision, Traoré seized the moment. Known for his boldness and leadership, he emerged as a unifying force determined to rescue Burkina Faso from what he saw as a failing regime. This marked the beginning of his direct path to power, the September 2022 coup, seizing the reins. On September 30th, 2022, Traoré led a second coup, this time overthrowing Damiba. Backed by the Cobra Special Forces Unit, though his own association with the unit remains debated, Traoré and his allies executed a swift operation in Ouagadougou. The coup was justified by Damiba's failure to address the security crisis and fulfill the MPSR's promises. On October 1st, Traoré delivered a televised address, acknowledging his youth at 34 and the gravity of the moment. "I know I'm younger than most of you here. We didn't want what happened, but we didn't have a choice." His words struck a chord with a population desperate for change, and his image, emerging from an armored personnel carrier in fatigues and a red beret, captured the imagination of a nation weary of instability. By October 6th, Traoré was appointed interim president and supreme chief of the armed forces, consolidating his position as Burkina Faso's leader. His rise was meteoric, transforming him from a captain to the head of state in a matter of days. Unlike Damiba, Traoré adopted a formal and enigmatic demeanor, presenting himself as a war leader focused on combating the insurgency. His administration quickly moved to assert control, launching a massive recruitment campaign for the volunteers for the defense of the homeland, enlisting 50,000 people in his first month. He also declared a general mobilization in April 2023 to bolster the military's efforts against rebels, signaling his commitment to reclaiming lost territory. A new vision, anti-imperialism, and economic nationalism. Traoré's leadership marked a bold shift in Burkina Faso's trajectory, driven by his rejection of Western influence, particularly from former colonial power France. In February 2023, he expelled French forces assisting in counterinsurgency efforts, a move that resonated with a generation disillusioned by decades of perceived neo-colonial exploitation. Aligning with Mali and Niger, Traoré co-founded the Alliance of Sahel States, withdrawing from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, and forging closer ties with Russia. His attendance at the 2023 Russia-Africa Summit, where he spoke out against Western interference, cemented his image as a Pan-Africanist leader. These actions drew both admiration and criticism, with supporters hailing him as a new Sankara and detractors warning of authoritarian tendencies. Economically, Traoré pursued policies aimed at self-reliance. He nationalized 2 gold mines and inaugurated Burkina Faso's first gold refinery in November 2023, aiming to process 150 tons annually and retain more revenue domestically. He also established tomato and cotton processing plants, reduced ministerial salaries by 30%, and increased civil servant wages by 50%, moves that bolstered his populist appeal. Despite these achievements, the insurgency remained a formidable challenge, with violence escalating in over 40% of the country outside state control by 2024. Traoré's refusal of IMF and World Bank loans underscored his commitment to economic sovereignty, though it raised questions about the sustainability of his reforms, challenges, and controversies. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's rule has stirred both admiration and concern. His extension of the transition to 2029 and the pardon of ex-coup officers raised fears of authoritarianism. Allegations of a foiled foreign-backed coup and crackdowns on dissent added to tensions. Yet his popularity, especially among youth, surged. Traoré's anti-imperialist stance and AI-driven digital presence made him a symbol of resistance. Support rallies grew, and economic progress followed. GDP rose to $22.1 billion, and poverty fell. Still, insurgency and mass displacement highlight the deep challenges facing Burkina Faso under his leadership. A leader in the making. Captain Ibrahim Traoré's rise to power in 2022 was a pivotal moment in Burkina Faso's history, driven by his military experience, ideological convictions, and a bold vision for national sovereignty. From a disillusioned officer to the interim president, his journey reflects both the promise and the perils of revolutionary leadership. As he navigates the complexities of governance, security, and international relations, Traoré's legacy remains a work in progress, shaped by his ability to balance populist reforms with the urgent need for stability. Whether he will be remembered as a liberator or a cautionary tale depends on the outcomes of his ambitious agenda in the years to come. From the brutal deserts to the war rooms of Ouagadougou, Captain Ibrahim Traoré's rise was not written in ease. It was carved in defiance. What began as a call to serve became a call to lead, and what began as obedience became revolution. But the story isn't over. Power is not the end, it's just the beginning. In our next episode, we'll continue to uncover the challenges, the alliances, the enemies, and the promises Traoré made to his people, many more. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell icon, and join us as we continue to unravel everything extraordinary about Captain Ibrahim Traoré. And don't forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters. Like, share, and keep the conversation going. This is more than a biography, it's history unfolding before our eyes.